How are we doing there, Ed?
Living the dream, Robbie. Thanks for asking. How you doing down there, down under?
Yeah, really good, man. I'm excited to be doing a podcast with you here on a Sunday. The girls have gone to work and I'm kind of here at home by myself. I've done all the housework and I'm ready to talk about nuclear war.
Housework? Yeah.
Doesn't take long when you live in a small apartment, so all good.
Well, I guess she's got you whipped, right? I thought you were a man. You're a man. You're not supposed to do any housework.
I'm a modern man.
Yeah, modern man. Yeah. You're a man. You've been in combat. You've been both the Navy and the Army, and you're at home. She's got you washing the dishes. I mean,
yeah, I was washing dishes and doing the shopping, man, and I got to go and wash the car later too. All good, all good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unspoken Truth. It's been a week between drinks. There's a lot that's been happening, and I have to say that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. That is a famous quote that you would have heard by Edmund Burke, and it seems to me, Ed, that we're drifting ever closer on a day-by-day basis. It's a slow move. It's this mission creep that's happening. I want to start off by talking about the world has never ever been closer to a nuclear escalation than what we've seen in the last week or so. The Russians have began and kind of ended the nuclear drills that they were talking about, which means they're going to load live nuclear weapons onto their aircraft. They're going to get the apparently nuclear-tipped Iskander missiles that they've been showing us ready to go, although they blur out the tip of the missile. You can't really see it. I'm not going to bother boring people with the footage that's there. You've seen all of this type of footage before. The point is the Russians are not mucking around with what's going on. They've aggregated about 50,000 troops to the northeastern part of Ukraine, trying to take the land back in Kharkiv that they lost at the end of 2022. They're now starting to realize that it's not working. Initially, they sent their forces across with armored columns. Those armored columns were quickly dispatched with FPV drones. Now they seem to be doing it with small section-style, platoon-style attacks with infantry. But one of the limiting factors that the Ukrainians have faced in the last couple of months is looking across the border, and they can literally see these people across the way, and they're massing their forces there, and they're not able to attack them. In the last couple of days, both the British and the Americans have come out and they've talked about how it's okay to go ahead and use the weapon systems that we've given to you to attack Russia. So Anthony Blinken has said it's okay for Ukraine to make its own choice when deciding to use US-made weapons to strike inside of Russia. So is that an escalation? I think that is definitely an escalation. We've seen the same thing actually happen from Lord David Cameron. What a fucking wank that is. He said the same thing, but he said it a while back on the 3rd of May. Here we are at the end of May, the 26th of May. He's saying that it insisted they have the right to strike targets on Russian territory. And we see the American administration now coming out also saying that we should be striking the Russians. We should be doing this. We should be attacking Russia with NATO weapons. Well, if there's ever going to be a red line of some description, it's going to be when ATACMS missiles go across the border there into the southwestern part of Russia, the northeastern part of Ukraine, and it looks like it's happening. There was some footage yesterday that I saw that looked like there was a missile strike on a building in Russia. I don't know what sort of missile, you couldn't tell, they didn't say, but it definitely looked like it was a missile strike. And what was it that they were firing out there? Command post, command and control, SIGINT, something like that. Maybe they're honing in on the EW of the Russians and then they're attacking those targets. It's hard to say. I've also seen the Russians in the last 24 hours. There's been some large attacks that have happened in Kharkiv, and these seem to be really super spiteful things that are going on. Some photos here on X, what's going on there. So these attacks that are happening, they attacked a part of Kharkiv where there was all the resupplies. So you see this footage all the time and these pictures of the buildings blown up, the windows blown out and everything. And where they were attacking was the depots where they would get all of the supplies from. And they didn't drop just one gliding bomb on this place, they dropped 2 of them. So it was definitely an attack. And it's kind of like the Home Depot, if you like, of what they're doing. And it seems like a really super spiteful thing that's going on. The Russians are attacking the logistics of the city, and because they're unable to take the ground, they're now going after the power infrastructure, all the things that you need to rebuild a place, and they're going to make life hell for these people, so they're going to have to evacuate from Kharkiv And the Ukrainians so far are holding them back. They've got the weapons that they need and more weapons are coming. So they seem to be holding the line pretty well there. But for how long, I don't know. And is it going to be an escalation when they start attacking the Russians on their territory with NATO-based weapons? Well, what other weapons are they going to fire at them? Pissy little drones that they made in somebody's garage, or are they going to, fire in the 152 Soviet rounds at them, which they've been allowed to do? If we start lobbing the 155 rounds at them and the mortars that we're giving to them and then the missile systems that we're giving to them, what's that going to do to an escalation? In my mind, I don't know, because the Russians already think that we're at war with them. The Russians already think that they're at war with NATO, but for some reason on our side, we're dancing around the whole thing that we're not at war with Russia, even though there's now NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine and the governments have admitted it. What's going on, Ed? What do you think, man?
Wow, boy, this whole thing is such a scandal, such a disgrace. Why the fuck do we even have NATO?
It's a joke, isn't it? It's an absolute joke. It's a basket case, man.
They were created in order to defend against Russia back in the Cold War. The USSR, right? It was originated to defend against the USSR, which is no longer, constituted. Now, NATO is a provocateur now. NATO is provoking wars. It's extending wars. This war could have been over a year and a half ago if it weren't for NATO.
That's the graphic I got on the screen. These maniacs will take us right up to the edge of a nuclear war, and they're going to let us peer over the edge and see what it actually looked like when we do that. And what it looks like is the escalation of the Russians getting their nuclear weapons out of the warehouses and putting them on their planes, and then putting the missiles inside of their launchers, saying, all right, this is what the edge of nuclear war actually looks like. I see that and I think, why are you doing this? Putin said many times, we're not bluffing. Dmitry Medvedev comes out and keeps saying, there's red line after red line, and we seem to be inching over our own red lines. When Joe Biden said way back when, if we give them tanks and we give them fighter jets, that's going to be World War III. They've got tanks and they're about to get fighter jets. Now we're attacking them over the border there in the southwestern part of Russia. This is going to escalate. This is the only thing that it can do to keep moving forward. What are the Russians going to do if they want to take the ground? What about like a small 152 tactical airburst that bombs over the battlefield? There's not really much radiation because it's airburst to 15,000 feet, but it destroys everything on the ground. The Russians can come just walk through in their mops gear. It just really says to me that deterrence is failing, and we are run by crazy people who are operating failed states. Jens Stoltenberg is the leader of a failed state. Joe Biden is the leader of a failed state. Anthony Albanese is the leader of a fucking failed state here in Australia. The economy's up shit creek. It's in the fucking toilet. Immigration's at an all-time high. The whole fucking thing is about to collapse. So the only thing that they've got left?
Go to war.
There it is.
Go to war. Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing that's going to sustain the economy, man. There's only one thing left.
Yeah, well, I do think that's what's behind it. Our inflation is largely, believe it or not, folks, if you follow the breadcrumbs, inflation is often fought with by going to war.
By war, exactly, and it works.
It's a massive, military-industrial complex. This is the way it works. So there are reasons behind this other than protecting borders or protecting democracy. This war, as we've been saying since day one, is not about borders. It's not about protecting democracy. It's about money. This is a big money laundering operation. And, all the weapons that have been sent to Ukraine, $60 billion. People think, boy, they're getting this brand new, fresh off the line weaponry. No, they're getting the weapons from our warehouse. We're putting
the bottom of the locker.
Yeah, from the locker. The stuff with dust on it. And, the new stuff is going back. Is going into our warehouse. So it's a way for us to deplete, the ammo that we have in our warehouse and get them and make the money out of it in the meantime. So this is it comes down to the crazy.
It comes down to the crazy people that run the show, right? And it's the business model. What it comes down to is that the lobbyists on both sides of politics in the United States and here in Australia as well. By the way, it's just a uni-party here, the same as it is there in America. The lobbyists are giving equal amounts of money to both parties, And those lobbyists have a business model to say that we'll give you all the money to support your re-election campaign, but in order to do that, we need a war, because without a war, we're all going to go broke and you're not going to be able to get re-elected, because the only reason you got re-elected because of the money we gave to you. You know, Australian politics is a little bit different to that. We don't have that sort of thing with the military-industrial complex. We have superannuation funds here in Australia doing similar things, and unions on the Labor side doing also similar things, and that's a problem that we have in our society, but it's nothing compared to the scale of what you have there in the United States. One thing that I'm really concerned about is, yeah, that's all happening over in Ukraine and in Russia. That's 10 million miles away from me. It could be on freaking Pluto for all I care, because I'm in the southern hemisphere in Australia. I also see the Chinese surrounding Taiwan and think, oh, well, here we go again. Last year when Nancy Pelosi was there, they did the same thing. They surrounded them and they threatened them and they did all of that. But don't forget, everyone's got a short memory because of this stupid news cycle that we're in. In 2021, Russia massed their forces on the border of Ukraine in exactly the same locations, in exactly the same way, in a rehearsal for 2022, exactly 1 year later, exactly to the year. So we've seen virtually 1 year pass where the Chinese have got their order of battle squared away for a blockade on Taiwan, but are they actually going to go at it? I don't think that's going to happen until North Korea attack either South Korea or attack an American ship in the South China Sea there, in that part of the world as well. That's the distraction that we need. We're going to have to deal with Kim Jong and his craziness over there, and then the Chinese are going to go, look at that, there's our opening. I think that that's going to happen before the election in the United States. Meanwhile, in the United States, I'd love to get your take on this on Memorial Day weekend. We're going to cross over in a lot of topics here, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you keep up, and make sure if you've got some feedback or some comments, you put them in the comments there below. We love to engage with the audience and hear your opinion. Earlier in the week, JJ Carroll came out on the Redacted channel, and he was talking about the documentary that he's creating called Treason. So he's been at the southern border in San Diego and Mexico, and that was the place where he used to work as a customs and border protection officer, and he's now been into Chicago, into the belly of the beast. Did you see that report earlier in the week on Redacted and what he was saying about that the black people there in that city have had a fucking enough of these immigrants in your country, in that city, and they are literally taking over. And they've got all the clothes, they've got all the money, they've got all the phones, they've got everything that they need. Meanwhile, these black people are suffering and missing out significantly, and they're about to take up arms. They had enough.
Yeah, well, you know, it makes you wonder. This is be a good case study. It makes you wonder whether the liberals have finally gone too far. Whether
where is that ouch point that you call it?
Exactly. Have the people of Chicago and the people of New York, have they finally gotten to their ouch point? You know,
seems like it.
Yeah, look. You saw. I'm sure you saw the clips of Trump in the Bronx this week. Right?
Yes. Yeah, they were loving him, right?
You know, so you gotta. Wouldn't it be so cool? I mean, what an earthquake that would be if Trump actually, captures New York in the election, or New Jersey, or Minnesota, or Illinois. I mean, this could be another Reagan-type election year. It could be, and it could be all because of the liberals' policies. They've gone too far. They've just, and I think they might have misread the room out there, because now their constituents are saying, "Hey." When they start seeing illegal immigrants being put up in luxury hotels while their own social programs are being cut, these people might finally start voting for their own personal interests, rather than ideology. So we'll see. Anything could happen. This is going to be a really interesting election year. But so I saw that report, and I'm not surprised at all.
Let me get your take on this video, and let's keep discussing that, because I think this is a really important video. I see this stuff as an Aussie. I look at it and I go, oh yeah, whatever, man. What do I care about American policies? What do I give a shit? But when I see this, it is very, very, very damning indeed. I don't know if you've seen this. Do you know who this is?
Oh yeah, Schumer. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
However many undocumented there are here, the guy doesn't even know himself. He's a politician sitting in the center of everything. Why doesn't he know himself? And he's saying he wants a path to citizenship, which means they're going to be able to vote. JJ Carroll says that there's not 11 million people here. He estimates that there's about 40 to 45 million illegal immigrants in America. That is unbelievable. We've had more than 1 million people migrate here to Australia in the last 18 months or 12 months or whatever it is. And this place is a freaking mess, man. Have a stab at what the median house price is in Sydney. And remember, the median house price is not the middle. Yeah. So what they do is they take a list of all of the house prices on that week or whenever they're doing the statistics. It's usually done on a weekly basis, right? Like a Monday to Monday, so it encapsulates the weekend. The median house price in Sydney last week was how much?
1.5 million?
5 million. What the fuck? Who can sustain a mortgage at that price? Just you said this. You said this about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, you said this. If you want to buy a house, just wait. And you're right, man. Just wait just a little bit longer, because if we wait a little bit longer, the whole house of cards, the whole Ponzi scheme is going to go away. And that $5 million house, somebody's going to go, oh my God, I can't keep that mortgage. I'm going broke because of inflation and I can't just sustain that. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to fucking pull the rug out from under you and I'm going to capture that thing for 200 grand. That's what's going to happen to this ridiculous market that we're in. And all of this, 100% of this is being created by the Australian government. Yep. And 100% of the chaos that's been created there in America, in your economy, and with those immigrants and with the risk of a civil war in frickin' Chicago, of all places, has been created deliberately by the liberals that are in charge. Yep. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about, reasons to impeach someone. That issue alone should get Biden impeached. Not to mention the strategic oil reserve. That's kind of off topic, but that issue alone should also get him, impeached. J.J. Carroll's documentary titled "Treason." It's exactly
right. He nailed it. Yeah. In his book, he describes treason, and he describes how treasonous the Biden administration is, allowing these people to come across the border and just causing absolute and total and complete chaos. You guys don't have a free medical system in the United States. You must have insurance to go to the hospital. You must have the right level of coverage to get what you need from the hospital. But all of these immigrants that come across the way, some guy falls down and breaks his arm or busts his leg or hurts himself, goes into the emergency department in hospital, and what are the doctors and nurses supposed to do? Sorry, dude, you don't have insurance. The guy's got a busted leg. If you don't fix him, he's going to die. They bring him in, they fix him. He say his name is fucking Pablo fucking whatever, and give some fake name. There's no way to verify who they are because they don't have any documents, and they get all of that free medical help while you guys are over there having to pay exorbitant amounts, the highest premiums on planet Earth for medical insurance. And these people are destroying your hospital system. They're destroying your medical system and your housing market as well. Oh my God, but it's all deliberate. Yeah. Don't worry, it's just go fucking watch Netflix, man. Don't worry about it. Just chill out, just relax. I can't, man, I can't.
And don't worry about it. We got a nuclear war that you need to be worried about. It's not just emergencies. They take the kids to the hospital for regular exams, dental cleaning, vaccinations, anything they want for free.
Tell me what your thoughts are on this, because it goes hand in hand with what you just said. I was watching an interview with Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday, and he was on a podcast, I can't remember, Sean Ryan's podcast it was on, and they were talking about how do you drain the swamp, how do you get rid of all of that stuff. And what Vivek said was, we have bipartisan support on both sides of politics, and I think everybody would agree it's a good idea that there's no insider trading and there's none of this deep state bullshit. So we can pass the legislation, but it doesn't apply to you. We're going to have term limits on politicians and bureaucrats, but it doesn't apply to you. You can stay there for as long as you want. And what it does is, and everybody agreed that was a good idea. And that was the proposal to put it there. Like, there's no insider trading. You're not allowed to trade stocks, anything. You're not allowed to trade anything while you're a member of Congress or you're a member of the Senate. You're not allowed to do it. You just can't do it. But you can do it. It's just for the next guy or girl that comes after you. They can't do it. But for you, you're good to go. Status quo remains the same. And what it said to me as I was listening to that and I was hearing his argument and seeing how he would approach that, it's this. And it goes to the heart of what you were just saying, giving away free dental, free medical, free fucking whatever emergency stuff that somebody needs. Imagine, how much is dental, man? If I get a busted, impacted tooth or something like that, go in there, it'll cost me $5,000 to get it fixed. And these immigrants are coming in getting it for free. Yep. It's even more expensive than medical. But what it leads me to is this, and let me get your comment on this. These politicians, man, they fucking hate you. Yep. They hate you. They hate you with every fiber of their being. They hate everything that you stand for. They hate your family. They want to destroy the nuclear family. They hate your children. They want to indoctrinate your children so they can cut off their fucking balls and do that without your consent. They can't vote, but they can't get a tattoo, but they can cut off their fucking dick and you can't know about it as a parent. These politicians fucking hate you. They hate every aspect of every single thing that you stand for. These politicians, they only care about their pocket. They only care about power and what they get. They fucking hate you and they lie to you. What happens is these politicians lie and there's no consequence. But when a member of the public tells the truth, like Julian Assange or Edward Snowden, who tells the truth, they're the ones that are going to get put in jail. If they, what nonsense, that's rubbish. But they don't, because they know Edward Snowden was telling the truth. They know Julian Assange was telling the truth. So those people telling the truth are an attack and a threat to them. These politicians, every single fucking politician hates you. They hate you. Talk about hate speech. They get up in front of you, in front of Congress, in front of Parliament, in front of the Senate, whatever fucking place that they make laws, and they lie. And there's no consequence. The reason there's no consequence, they hate you. All of them hate you equally. The E-Safety Commissioner here in Australia hates you, Ed. The E-Safety Commissioner here in Australia doesn't want you in Minnesota to see footage of a guy getting stabbed in a church, even though he didn't get stabbed. Like, they hate you, man. They hate everything you stand for. I don't know, man. Don't incite violence, don't have hate speech, but these politicians are inciting violence every day. Free Palestine! Yeah. And allow these murders where 4 Israeli hostages are found under the hospital run by UNRWA. We just gave $50 million to these people. What is wrong with you? Yeah. The reason we did that is because Penny Wong hates you. Penny Wong is the foreign minister and she fucking hates you, man. She hates everything that you stand for. She hates your family. She hates your nuclear family. Fucking disgusting human beings, man. Why do we get the worst of the worst, man? The worst, the absolute. We vote for the worst, we get the worst. That's what we get. These people are awful, man.
Well, that's the thing about democracy, right? In theory, in a democracy, you get what you pay for, right? So that's why, with the downfall of New York City and Chicago and even Minneapolis here, my response is, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for you guys. These people ran. I mean, Letitia James and the district attorney in New York
on a sanctuary city,
right? Yeah, and she ran on a platform of getting Trump. That was her theme. So if these are the people you're going to elect, then you shouldn't be surprised with what with what you get. So now. And it's the same with South America. All right, look at South America. All right, all these ingrates coming up from South America, fleeing South America for a better life. Every single country in South America is a socialist country. Okay, well, you voted the socialists in for generations now. Well, why don't you stay home and vote for someone else? Stay home. Stay home.
It's really not that hard, is it? When you think about it, just don't vote for those people anymore.
Yeah. So, Rob, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again and thinking there's going to be a different result. Yeah, it's fucking ludicrous, man. It's ludicrous.
And then they come here because their life is crap in their shithole country. Well, it's the same phenomenon we have in New York and California, where those states are being gutted, they're being emptied up. People are fleeing those states to go to Texas and Florida, but then they take their liberal policies with them and they start over again down there, spreading so they're bringing their toxic ideology with them down to those states. This is and this whole business about listen, this business of importing illegals. This is an evil, insidious, purposeful plan. But this is by design. They bring in these illegals, and where do they want to ship all these illegals? Where they putting them on buses to? They're sending them to the red states, not the blue states. They've got the blue states, so they're trying to send them to the red states. Now people will say, yeah, well, Ed, they can't vote. That doesn't matter because congressional seats are assigned by the census. So so certain areas will get a bigger representation because of the number of people they have under them. So they're trying to skew. They want to own the entire. They can't win elections honestly, so they have to resort to crap like this.
So what about this? Maybe you can help me to understand this, because I'm not entirely sure if this is true or not. But my understanding of these South American illegal immigrants that are coming to the United States, I don't know how true this is. All I can do is go off what some independent journalist says about this. And Michael Yon said this, actually. He said that these people that are brought up in these South American socialist countries are born to believe that America is the root cause of all of the poverty and problems in their country. And they're brought up to hate the United States. And when you talk to these people that want to come to the United States and they cross the border illegally, why are you here? They're not here because of political asylum. They're in the United States because they want a better financial opportunity for themselves, because they can get a job there and they can send some money home to help their family. But they can't get a job in the socialist shithole that they come from, and they blame the United States for the shithole that they live in. But they're directly responsible for electing the government that created the problems that they're in. So it's like they don't take responsibility for themselves. And they actually don't give a shit about the United States. They don't care about patriotism, your Constitution, your Bill of Rights. They don't care about anything that you stand for as a red-blooded American, because all they care about is money. And when somebody is poor and somebody is from a poor society, it's very, very hard for them to think about climate change. If somebody is from a poor society and they have to decide which kid is going to eat tonight, they don't care who's in power in the government. All they care about is feeding their family and feeding their children, so they don't give a shit about any American ideology. What they care about is money and an opportunity for themselves to make more money. And when they cross the border, they're like, whoa, look at this, I've got $10,000 on a card, and you're going to put me on a plane and send me where I want to go, and then when I get there I can stay in a hotel for 2 years and I can eat 4 meals a day, and you're going to pay me money, and I don't have to work, you're giving me $2,500 a month? Wow, this is more money than I've ever seen in my entire life. This is the deliberate destruction of your society. But am I right in saying that these people don't care about like America, and they actually hate America as well, like these liberals that are in charge? Is that right? Is that true?
No, that is right. That's why you see these people brazenly putting on parades, waving the flags of their home countries, like Mexico and Pakistan.
Iran, Hamas,
Hamas,
Hezbollah. Every now and then, that ISIS one is there too.
Yeah.
But that's a CIA flag they're waving when they're like, whoa. Hang on. Nice knowing you, dude.
Yeah, right.
That just slipped out. Notice how ISIS have never attacked America. You wouldn't fucking attack yourself, would you? Why would you do that, man? That's like stupid.
Hey, man, stay tuned.
I don't think you need to stay tuned for a terrorist attack, because all of those pissed off people in Chicago are going to get rid of all the fucking freeloaders.
Look, America is already attacking the South. Just take a look at these entitled idiots on Columbia University campus. That's another thing. Columbia University, they have a student body of 38,000 people. I didn't realize it's that big.
Huge.
Student of 38,000. 14,000 of those are foreign visitors.
Wow. Here in Australia, that's the biggest Ponzi scheme of all, is bringing all of the foreign students here to Australia. They come to Australia, they pay full tilt, because here in Australia, if I want to go to uni, I can go to uni for free. The government will pay for me to go to university. I get a HECS debt, higher education scheme that I have to pay back. But the Australian government did the same thing as what you guys did in the United States and forgave a whole bunch of people's debts. I think it was don't quote me, I think it was to the tune of $3 billion. So the Australian government gave $3 billion to pay off all of those HECS debts. Meanwhile, all of the tradies that went to work and got paid fucking $10 an hour while they were in their apprenticeship don't get anything. And it's actually the tradies that have paid their taxes that are supporting the people that have got some pissant fucking marketing degree that they can't get a job with. It's like ludicrous, man. The ridiculousness of these socialist societies that we live in, it just doesn't work, man. These socialism doesn't work. And you guys in America are some of the most socialist. You have some of the most socialist ideology on planet Earth. And the immigration policy that's going on there and the free handouts are proving that socialism doesn't work, because in Chicago, it's creating a division in society. And that division in society is going to erupt into violence pretty soon.
Okay, well, let's kind of put things in perspective. So, that my point of view is that this is by design, and these marching orders are coming from the people out of Davos and that ilk. They want to bring. This is the uni party, the new world order, phenomenon, right? They want to change the way the world works, and right now, they can't stand for America to be a dominant society. They've got to make everyone equal. So this is how they gain their power. These people, they don't want us to be dominant. They want to bring us down, not one peg, two peg, three peg, four peg. They want to bring us down, and they're going to make their money, but they want to bring us down. Boy, we're going to sit down such a big rabbit hole here. Now that leads us into the whole BRICS coalition and the attack on U.S. currency dominance.
Before you go there, just back up like a couple of steps out of the rabbit hole here for me. Yeah. And how do you feel as an American in Minnesota? And that you were the ground zero of George Floyd, who wasn't killed by a police officer, by the way. He actually had a heart attack and had a drug overdose. And it's proven with the autopsies that he didn't die because someone was fucking standing on his chest and he couldn't breathe. It's all bullshit. The Black Lives Matter thing was created on a false premise. It's really, in my mind, that is no different to a bunch of Nazi soldiers going across the border, killing some Polish guys, putting on their uniforms and shooting back at the German guys, their mates on the other side. Oh, they're shooting at us. They're shooting at us. That's how World War II started. The whole thing was created on a fucking false premise. The whole Black Lives Matter thing was created on a false premise as well. But how do you feel about the potential for a massive eruption of violence and chaos in the city? Because you saw it firsthand with BLM when that happened a couple of years ago. You're on the cusp and the precipice of it all again. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, it was a cause looking for an excuse. It was okay. If it weren't George Floyd, it would have been something else. Okay.
Do you think that that's what we're looking for and waiting for now in the lead up to the next election? Some version of that.
That's right. They're looking for some kind of false flag. They're gonna they'll take a small event. They'll call it racist. They'll call it what it wasn't. But it won't matter that it's a lie. It'll be enough to start that proverbial snowball going down the hill. That's all they need, because we have so many people in this country who are idiots. We're a very tribal country right now, and people will they'll join the cause just because their tribe says so. And
that's the mistake right there. I think you look at Hamas and you look at Israel, you look at Iran, you look at Ukraine and Russia, and they are all equally fucked. All of them suck equally. And when I see these people protesting on a university in Sydney or a university in Melbourne or a college in America, I see these wannabe Hamas protesters, and then I see these Jewish protesters on the other side and the cops on the other side, and I think all of you are just as fucking stupid as each other. because it's those people that believe there's right or wrong, that there's good and there's evil. Those people are the ones that rolled up their sleeve and said, give me 2 of them here. Because you're so captured by the media, you're so fucking brainwashed, that you're so unbelievably stupid that you think that you're on the right side of history. There is no right side of history. The entire thing is doctored to divide society, because a divided society is one that is very, very easy to conquer. You can't fall into the trap of looking and saying, oh, Joe Biden's a fucking senile dickhead, or Anthony Albanese is the worst prime minister in Australian history, and then look to say, oh, well, I quite like Vladimir Putin, or I like Xi Jinping, or I like Viktor Orban, or fucking Milei in Argentina. All of these people are fucking idiots. All of these people are dictators in their own right. And it comes down to this one fundamental truth. This one truth. They fucking hate you. Every last one of them, they hate you. They hate you. And they would see you dead in a nanosecond. And your government spent billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars to inject you with poison that they knew was going to kill you.
Yep.
To prevent you getting something that was created in a laboratory funded by your taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
Your government hates you. These people fucking hate you. If you're protesting for Hamas, or if you're protesting for Israel, or for Russia, or for Ukraine, or for some fucking ideology, you are captured. You've been captured.
Yep.
You've been psyoped and captured by these freaks and these fools, and you are giving away your personal autonomy. And when you give it away, you give away all of your self-respect. Everything is gone. I don't care if you're for Hamas or if you're for fucking Israel. I couldn't care less who you're for. I'm not for either of them. I'm for me. I'm for my family. I'm for the people that I care about and that I love, because I know that they're for me and they don't care about those things. And the minute you start to realize that the whole thing is designed to divide your mind and turn you into a tribal freak where he's evil and I'm good, I'm on the right side of history, you're on the wrong side of history. Once you realize that that's what they're doing to you on purpose, you will no longer roll up your sleeve and comply with what they want you to do. You'll never again do what the government wants you to do, because you realize that they hate you. They hate everything that you stand for.
Yeah, and for the record, people out there, Rob and I are both clean. We are both both unpolluted from that.
I am actually not.
Oh, really?
I'm not. I'm not, because I was sitting in this room, and I only found out after the fact that there'd been 2 people that had been jabbed the day before, and I was sitting in this room, and a day later I had a blood clot in my leg from my fucking hip to my ankle, an unprovoked blood clot, and that's from shedding spike protein.
Right.
Yeah? So I'm not clean. You don't have to be jabbed to actually be on the receiving end of that.
Okay, good point. I mean, I guess what I was trying to say is none of us took the jab, and we were telling people from day one. We were telling people, man, I would not get that jab. But
we know now that shedding is a real thing. We know that they knew about it the whole time.
Right.
We know that shedding was actually just as bad as receiving it. We know that. All the documents have proven that, and there's doctor after doctor, scientist after scientist proving that. We know that unequivocally. My government tried to kill me.
Yep.
I was willing to give my life for the government in the military. I was willing to serve, to be of service, to do what they needed me to do. And the payoff, the trade-off, the result of that was Scott Morrison buying billions, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Australian taxpayer dollars to buy an injection that was going to deliberately sterilise and kill a vast majority of Australia's population. For the first time in human history, the population's on the decline. The people that are doing this to us are winning.
Yep.
They're winning because they hate you, because you're divided and you're captured by their psyop. Stop it.
They do have a couple more viruses in the wings.
Apparently there's bird flu here in Australia, but Dr. Peter McCullough has come out and said that bird flu is gain of function that's actually been created in laboratories in the United States. And we know that the other one, that was created in a laboratory in Wuhan that was funded by the United States. The whole entire thing, every conspiracy theory that was back then in 2020 was actually found out to be true. It's true.
I mean, you would think by now, people would say, well, I'm not going to fall for it again.
They are.
Yeah, but I think people will, because look at the first time around. How many times have we talked about this? That I just pictured the people in Davos sitting on a table saying, "I can't believe they fell for that," and they cannot believe the success they had. I think I think it was a one big experiment to see what they can get away with. And I think they're just beside themselves. I cannot believe it.
There's something like 98% of Australians that had two of them. And you know what I can't believe? I can't believe that 98% of the Australian population would do what Scott Morrison tells you to do. That guy is just a complete... He's one of the nastiest, fucking awful, not politicians, but people. He's horrible. Horrible person. Why would you ever do anything that guy says?
Whether it's him or it's some other figure of authority, there are multiple figures of authority out there, and everyone has their favorite one. Oh, Tom Hanks took it? Oh, if Tom Hanks says I should take it, I'll take it. That guy, right? And then
Tom who?
And then of course you had the whole social media, shame campaign, where if you didn't take it, shame on you, right?
Imagine being led to be influenced. This is how captive they are in the psyop. And I want to pull on this thread like a lot, because I've still got the graphic on the screen. The maniacs that are in charge will take us right up to a nuclear war. So everything that we're talking about precedes all of that. But we're on the cusp of a nuclear exchange, because the Russians have fucking had enough. They don't have the weapons, they can't break through, but we got heaps of nukes. Just fucking use one, man. That's it. And deterrence has failed. That's a slippery slope. But imagine these people, 98% of the Australian population had two, some had three. One guy was on TV just the other day saying, there's a new version called Flirt. I got Flirt and I've had 6. I thought I was bulletproof. What? How could you imagine being influenced by a journalist on TV? In America, you guys have different kinds of journalists. You have like right wing and left wing, and you have these really outspoken people. And some of your journalists are like, they're kind of like stars of their station. Like Tucker Carlson was a star of Fox. Dan Bongino was a star of Fox, but they kind of parted ways. We don't have that here in Australia. The journalists here in Australia are all much of a muchness. They're all the same. They're all interchangeable between the various different mainstream channels. But imagine being so fucking psyoped and so captured that you did what Carl Stefanovic told you to do on the Today Show on Channel 9. My God, it's hard to believe like those people have such a level of trust with the Australian society. And then those journalists themselves have such a level of trust by the so-called health professionals behind them, who are unable to verify anything that they're saying. All they're doing is repeating and parroting what they've been told to say. And we now know, I'll find the report and I'll dig it and put it into the comments. It was on the Alex Jones channel. We now know that the obstetricians and gynecologists of the United States were told to say that it was okay to inject pregnant girls. Even though the ones that they did in the trials, the babies died and all sorts of complications and things happened. What? But they were captured to say that narrative. And if you didn't say that narrative, you were struck off the register.
Yes.
Like, fucking unbelievable, man. These people are so fucking... They're like jellyfish, man. They have no spine at all.
Well, Rob, remember very early on in our podcast, a couple of years ago now.
Here comes the I told you so moment.
Yeah. And I forget what the exact topic was, but you're talking about how, in communist China or something about the Uyghurs or something, they can put you in prison, but they can't control your mind.
Yes, they can actually.
And I was like, well, hold on a minute.
You're right, they can. I was wrong about all of that. I stand corrected. I apologize to the audience that I was completely wrong, that communism doesn't work because they can't capture your mind. That's what it comes down to, right? But the reality is, you can be easily psyoped by saying, there's war crimes going on in Gaza. Who gives a fuck, man? I'm in Sydney, Australia. I don't give a shit, man. I hope they fucking all kill each other for all I care. Good. Then I don't have to fucking listen to it, look at it. I couldn't give a shit. I hope they fucking all destroy each other. Good. So long as I don't have to be part of it. Don't fucking draw me into your fucking argument. It's like the neighbours over there arguing and screaming and shouting at each other all the time. Shut up! That's the only thing that I say. I don't from this side of the wall say, she's right. Fucking listen to what she says, man. Or he's right. You're a fucking bitch. I don't say that. I just say, shut up. Hamas, fucking Israel, Russia. Shut up. Fucking the lot of you. Shut up. Shut up and leave me alone. Let me fucking live my life. Let me shift gears here for us. We're going down a rabbit hole. I want to remind everybody that the society that you live in is because of your forefathers that fought for you. Freedom isn't free, and the price needs to be paid in blood. Often it's Memorial Weekend or Memorial Day in America?
Memorial Day. Oh, it's a Memorial Day weekend.
It's a weekend, yeah. Is it Saturday or Sunday, Memorial Day?
It's always on a Monday. So
it's on the Monday. So you have a long weekend, do you? Do you have a day off for that?
Yeah.
Oh, righto. So what's it mean to you, man, as an American?
Well, for me, it's a really good excuse to watch all the really good old war movies on TV. They bring on all the old. But of course, nowadays with I got everything recorded anyway, so I can watch them whenever I want. I even have a separate YouTube channel called Ripples in Time, where I post some old war movies. My favorite one. So it's a chance to. But no, what it means to me is this is a good opportunity to remind ourselves of exactly what you said. Is that freedom isn't free, a very big price, and too many people are ungrateful and unaware. They don't teach this stuff in schools anymore, Rob. I think kids. When I was growing up, my Boy Scout troop would go out to the cemeteries and we would put flags on all the veteran cemeteries.
Did you really? That's cool.
Graves, yeah. And they would play taps. There was a statistic put out that I saw a couple weeks ago, where in 1965, it was like 81% of the public between the ages of 18 and 35 were considering themselves patriotic. Today, that same group of people, that number is down to 38%. So
when you look at what's on screen here, all of those people that died in the column on the right, there's a lot of people that died there. We must be nudging, 750,000 people in the preceding 150 odd years. There's a lot of people that gave their life for the country that you live in. Yeah. How do you feel about that? How do you commemorate those people? How do you remember that?
Well, I'm very grateful to them because if it weren't for them, the world wouldn't look the way it looks today. America wouldn't be where it is today. The people have short memories. World War II, 1940, 80 years, the scheme of things is not that long. Historically speaking, that's not a long period of time. It wasn't that long ago that happened, and it makes you kind of, there's so many aspects to this that I would love to talk about. But one of them being, people's attitude toward their countries. The idea of patriotism then versus now, and I do think that there is a very strong sociological element to this. I think human beings are social creatures by definition. One of the reasons why solitary confinement is so brutal is because you're by yourself, and so people want to be around other people. So whether you're a part of a family, so you have your family, you have your Boy Scout troop, you have your church or your baseball team. People like to be parts of groups. And
these are all the things that matter. Everything that you just described, they're the things that matter in life. And what you're talking about, that's what really matters in life. Not fucking Hamas or some war crime, in Gaza or some war crime in fucking Russia it doesn't matter. What matters is what you said, being around the people that you care about, you love, and you can share those experiences with. And that is what represents your country, your environment, your physical place, the patriotism that you feel. Would you consider yourself to be a patriot?
Oh, very much so. But
what about the fools that run the place? How can you feel patriotic about those fucking idiots?
Okay, you cut me off here, man. Let me finish my thought. I know where you're going with this, and I want to flush that out in the end. Of course, the ultimate group to belong to, the biggest group you belong to, is the country you come from.
The
country. Now, in every group that you're in, you sort of absorb the values of that group. The Boy Scouts, you adopted the values of the Boy Scouts, and I mean, if you don't agree with the values of that group, then you you leave the group. Okay, you don't participate in the group anymore. Now in America, so America was founded on certain principles and values, and so that's why I think it's all these national holidays that we have every year, Memorial Day, 4th of July, the certain touch points you have every year. They're critical. They're essential because they're touch points. They're little reminders of the values that America was founded on. But the whole aspect of socialism and the power to be is to pull us away from that. Is to
separate you.
Right, separate you from those values. And so it's a long process. But these people, these liberals, these leftists, these socialists, they've been in our educational system for generations now. So that's how they talking about the PSYOP operation of all PSYOP operations. Okay, that's gone on for generations now, and so the state of our society has degraded. The Roman Empire fell largely because of the degradation of their society. And that's what we're kind of in the midst of right now. And so this is a very important period historically for our country. I think it's a very precarious one, a very dangerous one, a very fragile one, and if we're not careful, we can lose everything. That is one reason why I'm looking for my plan B. I got my short list of countries to bug out to.
I feel like it's a cop out to have a plan B as well, and that's not a criticism.
I know.
That's just I feel the same way here. But I was having this conversation with my missus the other day. I was sitting on the beach at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning, watching the sun come up and drinking a cup of coffee. And I said, if you could go somewhere else in the world, where would you go? And I thought to myself, I'd probably go to a country town in northern New South Wales a little bit, where there's not many people that live. It's beautiful surrounds. The ocean is there. I could go spearfishing. I could have a boat. I could kind of live the lifestyle that I want to live. And really what I'm saying is I just want to be left the fuck alone, man.
Yeah.
I just want to be left alone, and I want to be in a community surrounded by like-minded people where, the neighbours are really nice. Hey, Jono, what are you doing, man? Let's go out in a boat. Or, hey, Steve, let's go ride motorbikes, man. Let's go hang out, and let's go down the pub and have a beer, whatever. Like, I want to live that life. And I think the world that we live in is so overwhelming with the news cycle and social media and everything that's happening there. But I never really thought of it like you described it, is the socialist people that are in charge are separating us from the things that matter to us. They're separating us from Boy Scouts, from barbecues, from doing activities together, going and watch sport together, because all of this left, right, bullshit politics where they want to cut my kid's dick off and cut my fucking daughter's tits off, and they want to do all this fucking bullshit all the time, that's separating me to make, it's like they're living in my head rent-free. You're living in my head rent-free with your stupid bullshit fucking ideology that makes no difference to my life. The things that matter to my life are over here, and you've separated me from those things because you're forcing me to think about this shit because of the crazy discourse in society on social media. If someone invited me to a barbecue on a Sunday after, hey Rob, what are you doing, man? Nothing. Come down to the barbie, man. Come and meet some mates. I would be like, well, who are these people? What's this all about? And the minute they start talking about some fucking gender ideology bullshit that's in the school library, I realise they've been captured by the left, and I realise that they don't realise that the politicians hate them. They don't realise that they hate everything that they stood for and everything that they believed in. And if you look back generations of your family, imagine the generations of your family that fought blood, sweat, tears, all the fucking chaos of the lives that they led, and it led you right to this point now where you're reading a book about how a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy. Imagine what those people would think of you. They would think that you've lost your mind. You've been captured by the enemy, and you've lost your mind because you've been completely and totally separated from what matters. And I love your thought of patriotism is defined by the group that you're part of. But if you're part of a group that is completely batshit fucking crazy, then The patriotism that I once felt as an Aussie, I was a proud fucking Australian. I was a proud Aussie digger. I look at it now and I think, imagine if Anthony Albanese said, right, everyone, China invaded Taiwan. We need everybody that was in the military to go. I'd be like, get fucked. Fuck you. I'm not going anywhere fucking near a fucking rifle or a uniform or anything if you're in charge. Peter Dutton, you're no different. You're just as fucking bad. You're just a dickhead as well. There's no fucking way I would fight for this country. No way. It's captured. 98% of the country went, sure, give me 2. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Why would I fight for that? Now you want me to go and fight for that? And support your choice to actually roll up your sleeve and do what Scott Morrison told you to do? All self-respect is gone, man. All patriotism that I once felt is gone. I don't feel like I'm part of Australian society anymore because I was fucking ostracized, ejected, and fucking deleted from society. That makes me angrier than 10 angry people. And then I had a blood clot from my hip to my fucking ankle. I was in hospital and I said to the doctor, you know all of that shedding from the fucking vaccination that everybody is getting? That's the cause of this. Because there's only 3 reasons you can have a blood clot. Surgery, flying high in an aeroplane, or an injury. And I didn't have any of those 3 things. You can't explain it, so the only thing left is that. What is it? He said, no mate, you're fucking crazy. That was the doctor. No mate, you're fucking crazy. There's no evidence of that. Now there's evidence of it. I wish I could go back to that guy and say, you dumb fucking moron. You could have 50 fucking PhDs and still be a fuckwit. These people are just captured, man. Your politicians hate you. Your doctors hate you. They murdered you. Knowingly.
Yeah, all the more reason.
They got away with it.
It really drives home the point that, in a democracy, elections have consequences. So, but too many people don't give this kind of thing. This is just it, right? I mean,
they don't have these conversations.
Yeah. How many interviews have you seen, on YouTube of the guy in the street, asking a college girl graduate, questions about basic history of America? So they don't know.
Point to this place on a map. They're like,
yeah.
They don't even know geography, man.
They know nothing. They're as you know, my 2 biggest causes for all this that I blame for all of this are the 2 things are really bad educational system and really bad parenting. Those are the 2 core causes of the decline of our society. We did a comment in the comment section by Stillman. I'm sorry, I'm not quite. What name to call you? Yeah, there are a lot of patriots out there. I agree. There are, but they're what you would call the silent majority, right?
Are they patriots? I read that comment, and so this is the question: are they patriots, or are they people that just have had enough of these fuckwits over here? Because the people on the left, all these immigrants that are here causing chaos in our society, the leftist politicians that we have, the leftist politicians that we have clapping Nazis in the Canadian Parliament, the leftist politician in America having the Nazi Azov battalion commander in the British House of Commons. What the hell, man?
Yeah. No. Trust me. In America, there are a lot of actually true patriots. People,
red-blooded Americans that fucking love the place.
Exactly. There are people who do honor their veterans. They do believe in the core values that America was founded on. They do believe in the Constitution, and they are getting pissed. This is why you see Trump rallies with overflowing capacities at all of his venues. They just do it when he first ran too, by the way, because he was saying things that finally. The silent majority was hearing.
Saying what you're thinking.
Exactly. He was resonating with them, and the fact that he is an awkward speaker, a lot like me, he stumbles a lot on his words, and doesn't say things real smoothly. They like that because they know there's no filter between his brain and his mouth, right? So and they like that because even if once in a while he might say something that rubs someone in the wrong way. They know that at least he meant it, whatever it was. Whereas with the politician, they're always pandering and they're triangulating and they're saying whatever they feel. This is why Biden just forgave another $1.7 billion of student loans this year.
You know what? I've never heard a politician say. As I'm thinking you hear say that, I never heard a politician get up and go, "Shut up, you fucking idiots! Shut up!"
Yeah.
Because how many times have you like screamed at your phone, at your computer, or at your TV, going, "Shut up, you fucking dickhead"? What the fuck do you know about the real world, real society, real problems, real people? You've been sitting in that chair, in that suit for the last 23 years since you left university. Never had a real job. You're completely out of touch with society and you don't represent the people that you claim to represent. It's all a lie and you hate us. Because if you didn't, you would actually be communicating with us. You wouldn't be trying to destroy us from the inside out. I'm glad that you said that there's patriots there in America. That gives me hope. I'm glad that I see it. I see it on podcasts. I see it on YouTube. I hear it a lot. But is it at a grassroots level? When if you went up and down the street and knocked on 10 people's doors, would you get 10 different responses, or would you get 8 people saying, "Yeah, Joe Biden's a fucking idiot. I hate all this leftist bullshit. I want America to go back to what it was."
Well, it depends on where you are demographically, right? I mean,
like in your street.
Like you're in California, or are you in California, or you're in Montana? Okay. So. But I mean, we have enclaves. The liberals tend to be in the big cities. They tend to be in the urban areas, and the red areas tend to be in the suburbs and out in the rural areas. So so I agree with the gentleman here in the chat and comment box that there are a lot of people out there who are true patriots. But they tend to be the conservative types, and they tend to be agreeable people and not unagreeable people, like liberals and leftists. They don't want to. They don't try to convince the cashier at the grocery store about their politics. How dare you say? They just want to live their life. Live by the golden rule. Treat someone the way you want to be treated, and they're not likely to be the squeaky wheel. The squeaky wheels are the complainers, the whiners. Those are the loud people. Those are the ones who get on TV.
I decided, Ed, tell me what you think here, man. I decided that I don't care about what side of politics you're from. Liberal, Labor, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, whatever. All of you are fucking morons. Every single one of you, you're as bad as each other. You're all the same. Because at some point, at some element, the ideology that you stand for is the destruction of the nuclear family.
Well,
and there's very few political parties or political ideologies that don't agree with cutting off the fucking genitals of a minor, that don't agree with giving puberty blockers to people that can't get a tattoo or even vote or even fucking speak properly. Politics is the most grubby, horrible thing in our society. And my view is that if somebody talks to me about politics, I'll just say, shut up, shut up, shut up. You're a fucking idiot that's been captured by the psychological operation to try and divide me and, to your point, Ed, separate me from all the things that matter. Yep. And it does not matter. You don't matter. Politics doesn't matter. And your opinion about politics doesn't matter, because these people are not there to serve you. They hate you. And evidence that they hate you is that they tried to murder you. We have people on TV now, right now in Australia, in the last 24 hours, saying that you need to go and get another booster. What?
They have no shame.
But you said it's a new variant, and you want me to go and get another booster, but isn't for the booster for the Omicron thing that was like fucking way back when, in another lifetime? And now there's a new version here. You want me to get a booster, and then you put a guy on TV that says he had 6 and thought he was bulletproof, and go, what? These politicians hate you, man. They want you to die. They are trying to murder you.
Okay, well, let me ask you this though. When was the last time any one of these people have been held accountable?
Never. It's the Tucker Carlson thing. These people go and lie. That's what I'm saying. They hate you. They lie about every single thing that's out there. Everything. They lie to you about green energy, that it's the best form of energy. I looked it up on one of the government websites. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning or some shit. I was looking at it. 99.3% it was. 99.3% of the power in New South Wales was coming from coal. That means only 0.3 of it was coming from wind, because it was still fucking dark outside, and 0 was coming from solar, because it's fucking nighttime. There's no solar coming there at nighttime. So what it says is the government comes out and says the cheapest form of energy is wind and solar. But 99.3% of it at that time is coming from coal, from fossil fuels. And I'm just going, but you're lying to me, telling me that it's the cheapest form of energy, but it's not, because it can't produce the energy that I need to turn my computer on to check the fucking statistics. I'm like, just, they hate you, man. They hate every fucking aspect of your life. They want to destroy the nuclear family, and they want to murder you. They tried to murder you.
You know, you got to wonder to what degree these people actually believe in what they're saying, or whether they're being told to say by their donors.
I believe that they believe it, because they're the captured. They're the people shouting "Free Palestine." Because they genuinely believe that the Israelis and Jews should go away and they should all be fucking killed.
We have people on the floor of the U.S. Congress waving the Ukrainian flag after voting to send them another $60 billion.
We have people wearing the fucking ketefa fucking thing around their neck, or whatever it's called, in our parliament, and saying that their fucking duty is to Allah, not to the Australian government. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. That's a case where somebody should stand up in Parliament and go, shut up. That should be the response. Every single Australian would rally behind that politician. That woman said that she has more of a duty to her religion and to her God than she does to the Australian people. Someone should stand up and say, shut up.
This kind of drives home the importance of this issue of illegal immigrants. We had the mayor of what Michigan city was that? Dearborn, Michigan. The mayor
Dearborn, yeah,
of
that's right.
Michigan, saying in a speech that our current form of government needs to be abolished.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought you were going to talk about something else.
I sent you the video on it. It was a video that I did for last week, but you didn't want to show it because.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah.
Like, where he was giving a speech in public saying that it wasn't enough, that we had to turn down our form of government. Okay, all right. So you're saying, yeah, but that's Dearborn, Michigan. Why is that important? It's because Dearborn, Michigan has the largest collection of Muslims in the country. So they come from these shithole countries, and they all gather in the same area, and they start taking over government. And now here in Minneapolis, we have a large Somalia opportunity. That's how Ilhan Omar got into office. They voted her in. Okay, so these people, their population is not shrinking. They're having their kids.
Yeah.
Because the government's paying for the kids. So they're having their kids. Plus, we're bringing in all sorts of these illegals. So as these illegals come in, this is part of the plan. Okay, they're bringing their evil and their disgusting ideologies with them, and they're bringing their values with them. Most economists agree that if nothing changes economically over the next 5 years, over the next 6 years now, that China's GDP will be on parity with America's GDP. So when that happens, that's when I can't tell you how important that a deal that is, because right now America, we have influence because we are the
dominant economy
powerhouse in the world. But when the world has an option, okay, we are no longer going to be able to flex our muscles. You're going to see potentially, if we don't get our act together fast, we could potentially unwind really fast. America has only been around for a little over 200 years. Okay, it's nothing. It's a blip on the screen in terms of history. It's a very fragile experiment, and we're the first country in world history to embrace democracy. This is still what you categorize as an experiment, and we have all these outside forces attacking it. Unless we stick up for it, it could go away. And
What about this theory? I heard that on the J.J. Carroll interview with Clayton on Redacted the other day, where he went back and talked about a little bit of history and talked about the Civil War. And the reason that the Civil War happened in America was because people were pissed off about taxes, tea, and slavery. And there was a bunch of things that happened, but it wasn't not so much the causes of it, but he was saying the numbers of people. So he was saying that only 3% of the American population were pissed off about it, and it created a civil war at the time. And society was very different then, of course, and there's no levels of communication like we have today. But the amount of illegal aliens and illegal immigration that you have there in the United States, and by the way, the legal immigration we have here in Australia, does that equate to more than 3% of the population? Well, in the United States, it definitely does. If there's 40 to 45 million illegal aliens in your country, that represents more than 3%. That almost represents 10 to 15% of your population is there. So what happens when there's massive discourse in your society and there's a bunch of people sitting around waiting to do some jobs? Remember, there's another lesson here that I think I've spoken about before, but I'll talk about it here for the audience that's still sticking with us. And thank you for tuning in, everybody. And we're going here for an hour or so on a Sunday morning. We really appreciate your support. But there was a time in the Second Gulf War when we went to Iraq, when they drove all the way up to Baghdad and pulled the statue down of Saddam, and George Bush went and put a mission accomplished banner on an aircraft carrier and went, that was the biggest regret of his presidency, that fucking goose. But that's what he said it was. And what had happened is that they installed a government bureaucrat in place, because they got rid of Saddam and the government fell apart, and they put Paul Bremer in place. You might remember that guy. And Paul Bremer was responsible for the de-Baathification of Iraq. So you've heard me tell this story before, but for the people that haven't heard it, just bear with me and I'll get to my point. So the idea was that there was only one political party in Iraq for the 30-odd years that Saddam was there, which was called the Ba'ath Party. And everybody was a Ba'athist. It was like being a Nazi. In Germany, everybody was a Nazi. That's just the reality of it. You were part of the Nazi. Hitler came to power and got rid of all the other political parties. You could only be part of one party. The Nazi Party. That was the only one. And in Iraq, it was the same. There was only the Ba'ath Party. That was the only one that there was. So Paul Bremer said, no, we have to have a complete de-Baathification of Iraq. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, the wheels of bureaucracy and the wheels of government don't turn quickly. So there's chaos, there's looting, there's all sorts of crime and everything like that. But after that had settled down after a couple of weeks, about a month, all of the people that were employed by the government in the hospitals, in the schools, in the military, the police, they're all like, we need to eat. We're going to get paid or what? What's going on, man? And over a period of time, over an extended period of time, they realized al-Zarqawi, the Jordanian fucking wannabe terrorist who became like the founder of all this fucking IS bullshit that we see today, is that al-Zarqawi realized that this was not working. And all of these people were sitting around going, I need to eat. And so what he did is he got behind them and said, righto, the Sunnis over there are causing shit and the Shias over there are causing shit. They're the reason you can't do it. So he was getting in between these two and getting them to fight each other and drawing the Americans into it. So everybody's fighting each other, and he was over here kind of laughing. And the de-Baathification of Iraq didn't work because the people that were employed to be in the military, the police force, the emergency service, everything like that, all government services, no longer had a job. And what I see in the United States is almost like the de-Baathification of your society. They have literally 4 or 5 brigades of enemy troops that have crossed your border. That's the fact. 4 or 5 brigades of enemy soldiers are in your country. And when the civil discord and the civil chaos ensues because of a false flag or because of a real event that actually happens, these 4 or 5 brigades are going to be activated by either the American government or the United Nations, because there's not enough cops, there's not enough National Guard, there's not enough anything. They're going to go down to all of these places and say to them, hey, you're sitting around here all day doing fuck all, your money's going to be cut off unless you get down to the recruiting office and we put you through the basic training. We're going to give you a uniform, we're going to deputize you, make you a police officer, we're going to give you powers of arrest, and we're going to get you to do these things, and this is what we need to do. You've got brigades of men, military-aged males, to go and destroy and repress your society. That's what's unfolding in slow time. It's like a slow motion train crash, man. But it's happening.
Okay, let me. Okay, I agree with that. Let me push back a little bit on one element of that. Okay, so this is my opinion. Thanks to our Second Amendment, we're
I wish we had one of them.
Yeah. Hey, you guys voted for those people, and you guys used to have shotguns in your closets. Well,
Not anymore. Yeah.
anymore. Um, uh, but uh, I think that there's a strong enough. Americans are arrogant enough and egotistical enough, and self-aware enough that in events like that, this is where our enemies have a tendency to underestimate us, whether it's with Japan in World War II, or whether it was Saudi Arabia attacking us on 9/11. Yes, I said it. Saudi Arabia attacked us on 9/11.
You and your fucking CIA conspiracy story, man. It's nice knowing you.
When America, when America feels attacked by a common enemy, people tend to, minds seem to be solidified. People come together, and at least for a short period of time, they put their differences aside to attack that one. So I think, and when you have so many guns in so many houses, if something like that were to happen, there's some kind of an organized, brigade somewhere in the country, and even if they're scattered here and there, citizens, the buddies are going to get together, man. Hey, got a gun? Got a gun? Hey, we're going to meet at the bar here at 4:00, and we're going to start roaming. We're going to start monitoring the streets.
Is that how a civil war unfolds when you have they're UN soldiers, but they're actually wearing your police officer uniforms and your police officer hats, and they have your police officer badges, but the guy's from fucking out of a jail in Venezuela. Imagine that guy coming over and pulling you over, talking to you in a Venezuelan accent. He can only string 9 words of English together. Yeah. Shut up, mate. Fuck off. And he'll fucking arrest you like everybody else. Like, are you going to comply with the law like that? If that guy's enforcing the law, are you going to comply with it?
Okay, that kind of, in theory, that makes a really good Netflix script. But
I made a movie about it, man. It's called Civil War.
Oh, that's the way it worked? Okay, but it would have to be so well organized. I don't think it would be sustainable, because we're too big of a country, and so they would have to have so many insurgents, well trained and organized, and have their shtick filled out. I don't think so. I think if you have a little bit of chaos in society, they implement martial law, and then those people are the ones that institute the martial law. So you can't go outside after. We had it here in fucking Sydney, man. You can't you can't leave 5 kilometers from your house. What? And I looked at the map, and I'm like, well, I can fucking still walk down there. That's a good point. If the government starts saying, okay, yeah, we're going to institute martial law, and we're going to go door to door and collect guns. Yeah, that's where a civil war will start.
Yeah, you're not taking my guns away from me. Watch this. Yeah.
I mean, look, if who owns the most guns in America? It's the government, right? So, if the government wanted to, if they wanted to disarm us, they could. But they've done it here in Australia, and it was actually pretty easy. It was voluntary that actually happened. Yeah. Well, we have 340 million people in our country, and we have more guns in America than we do people.
Isn't it like a 3 or a 4 to 1 ratio or something like that?
Yeah. So there's a massive amount, and so I think it's that bigger problem. Besides which, I think that just like even though New York is a very blue liberal city, you can't get more liberal than New York City. When you get Trump going to the Bronx, and people see him as a victim because of the way the government is attacking him, they're using lawfare. They view him as a fellow victim, right?
Yeah.
That's why I say, man, I get it, man. I think that's one of the reasons why he's popular among minorities. Because, hey, man, I can relate. They're going after you for no good reason, because they feel, in a lot of ways, like they're the victim of the legal system. And they think the legal system is used on Trump. So I think they found a little common ground there. So they have a little. Plus, he actually showed up where no politician has shown up there in a generation.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So I think that if something like that, if there was an organized governmental push to confiscate the weapons, countrywide, I think that the people who they might not have interest in owning a gun themselves, they will see it as a blatant attack on the Constitution, and I think that they will. I think if they try to do that, at least my hope would be that they will.
Well, what about this, man? Like, your government and my government deliberately tried to fucking sterilize and murder you. But the people that did that are still in power.
Yeah.
So my hope is your hope. My hope is that people don't go door to door trying to disarm Americans because you have the ability to do that, and you end up like a fucking weak soy boy fucking Australian society that 98% of people do what the government tells them to do. But the reality is the government tried to murder you. They tried to murder you. And they shut down the entire economy like that. And they turned the economy back on just as fast. Like that. I remember when we had every fucking person in the Sutherland freaking Shire where I live was a hypochondriac. And we had these drive-up testing stations. Imagine driving up in your car, putting the window down, zzz, like this, and then some person in fucking nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare mops gear comes in and shoves a fucking piece of plastic up your nose that big, right up to the top of your fucking sinuses there, like that, puts it in a thing and goes, there you go, so, and you drive away. Imagine how stupid you would have to be to go and do that. Imagine how fucking insane you would have to be to allow a human being to stick that up your nose while you're sitting in the driver's side of the car because you got a fucking little bit of a cold. And then one day they were all gone. So one day we had this thing in our society, and all of a sudden all of those places were gone. And there was literally there was probably 2 of them in every suburb in Sydney, and all of a sudden they were completely and totally gone. So what happened to this thing? Did it just disappear from our society completely? Was it even ever there in our society completely? And how stupid were you if you drove up in a car and you waited in a line, in a traffic jam, to have a thing stuck up your nose? What the fuck is wrong with you? And 98% of people went and did it. And the people that did it to you are still in charge. Yeah. You must be crazy.
This reminds me. Do you know that CIA agent who's on? He's called the Everyday Spy.
Yes.
Bustamante.
The guy with the long hair. Yeah, he's really cool. That dude.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Andrew Bustamante, I think.
Yeah.
And he said, so there's an acronym, RICE, RICE, that they use for how to control societies and people, individual people. So RICE is reward, ideology, coercion. I forget what the E stands for. And he says
expedite, faster,
and extortion, maybe.
Yeah.
And the most powerful one of those is ideology. Ideology is the most powerful thing because you can get people to do things for maybe to defend and support your family, or maybe it's to defend your country. Ideology. You're a socialist, you're a capitalist, whatever. Ideology is of those is the most powerful motivator. So what went on there?
That's interesting, huh?
Yeah. What went on there during the period where they got 98% of the public to go along with it is there's a combination of, I think, of ideology and coercion, because ideology was hey, if you want to be a patriot, if you don't want to get your neighbors sick, it's on you.
Do your part, will you?
Do your part, right?
Do your part, man. Okay, we'll get back together.
That's right. So ideology, right? And then the social, and then the coercion comes in the form of that social media shaming campaign. And also, if you want to keep your job, you have to take a double jab, right? So that's the.
Let me tell you a little funny story as a small sidebar. When I was in the Navy, fucking 18 lifetimes ago, about 492 years ago, I remember there was a bunch of us just kind of milling around. We come alongside. We're in Japan, of all places. We're in Nagasaki in Japan, and we're all milling around, just waiting. And the chief steward comes over, and he said, "Righto, boys." There's about 9 of us there, and he goes, "I got some tickets to a party," and the Japanese are really gracious and they're really great hosts. I don't know if you've been here before. None of us have been here. He's like, he's the chief petty officer. He's like a really fucking experienced dude. So there's tickets for the party, but there's only 4 tickets, and there's a bunch of you guys here, and we want to. We want to get you to the party. You have to wear your uniform, you have to wear your rig, and go out there and you do all this stuff and you make it all happen and do all that. It sounds good. Who wants to go to the party? Put your hand up. And I went like this. I half put my hand up, right? Like, in Star Wars where he goes, "It's a trap." I'm like, yeah, I want to go to a party. Like, who doesn't want to go to a party? And like, there was 4 other people like put their hand up straight away, and I put my hand right down like that. And he goes, "You fucking idiots! It's a stores party. Get on the wharf and bring the fucking shit in here. Hurry up!" Right? It's just a giant piss take, and the Japanese were bringing all the stores in. Right? That was the party you were going to. And then one guy, like after those 4 guys left, he goes to me, "Hey, new guy," and I went, "What?" And he goes, "Do you know what Navy stands for?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "No, don't you know what Navy stands for?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Never again volunteer yourself." And I thought, there it is. And I never got caught in a stores party ever again. And I never volunteered myself for anything that seemed a little bit sketchy like that ever again. And I think that's what you're talking about, right? Is people are volunteering themselves to this, and they're doing it because they're being coerced and being convinced into something else. You know what? We'll bring those people into the hospital. We'll give them some remdesivir. We'll stop their kidneys working. We'll stop all of these other things. Their lungs are really not working. They've got a chest infection anyway. That'll make it worse. Then we'll intubate them. Once we intubate them, we'll get $48,000. Oh, they died. Oh, well, we still got $48,000. What about injecting those pregnant mothers? How much money did you get for that? What about injecting the children? How much money did you get for that? Literally every vaccination that you stick into somebody's arm, you get paid for.
Yeah, well,
The whole entire medical industry is captured and coerced by money. And it's what you're saying. It's the ideology that everyday spy is talking about, is that this is good for society. This is good for everything. This is good, and I believe it. That's what an ideology is. I believe in something. But the reality is it's not good for you. You're only doing it because of money. If I remove the financial incentive, if I took all of the pharmaceutical ads off TV in America, those fucking free-to-air news stations go away overnight, man.
Yeah.
It would collapse. And that's part of the root cause of problems in society, is people believing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. Is it because they can't think for themselves, Ed? What is it?
PSYOPs, right?
I would never again volunteer myself for anything like that. I'm just not doing anything that Scott Morrison tells me to do, because the guy is a fuckwit.
This is why the military is made up of largely young men. Okay, you want to get them young. Yeah, of course they're better physically fit, but hey, a guy who's in his mid-30s, he can be physically fit for service too. But he's
also going to tell you to get fucked faster than a 17-year-old.
That's right. They want the young, malleable, impressionable brains, in the military. Because they don't want you thinking for yourself. The Marines, they pride themselves on the way they build their force is they bring you in. The first thing they do, they tear you down.
Shave your head.
Everything they do, they take away all your personal clothing. You don't have any, you don't have earrings or nose rings or personal different haircuts. You all get the buzz cut. You all get issued a uniform, and it's all. And you spend your first couple of weeks with your face in the fucking mud and being fucking humiliated by the drill instructor. And that's on purpose. That is to break you. That is to tear you down, and then they build you up the way they want you built, and then they teach you how to be part of the group. And okay, I can actually get behind that, because it's to serve a purpose. It's to serve, it's a mission-based, group. So I can kind of get that.
Well, that happens across millions of jobs in society. Like if you want to be an airline pilot, you have to go through the pipeline. If you want to be an electrician, you have to go through the pipeline. You want to be a plumber, it's the same thing. Yeah. And that, imagine being a plumber, man. You turn up to the public toilet and the shitters are all fucking broken. There's raw sewage everywhere. There's a certain mindset that you have to go through to actually solve that problem. And there's no such thing as a poor plumber. They charge through the earth to actually fix those problems and resolve those things. But there's a mindset that those people go through. You know, they've seen everything there is to see in their trade during their apprenticeship. They know what to expect. They know how to do that. But if I'm not a plumber and I've got to go to that job with that guy, I'd be like, fuck, how do you do this for a living? You seem like you're brainwashed into that thing. Actually, no, he's not brainwashed. Okay. He's ready for it psychologically. Yeah. And to your point, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing. We need that in our society in order for it to function correctly and properly.
Everyone, in one form, everyone gets brainwashed. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Your starting with your parents.
Yeah, exactly. When I told my daughter, whatever you do, don't do what the government tells you. Yeah, well, Dad, why aren't you getting one of those like everybody else? And I'm like, would you do what that guy says? She's like, no. Well, don't do that then.
And that's your form of influencing and brainwashing. So everyone, it's unavoidable. So I think that patriotism is a form of psyops. It's a form of brainwashing. So it's not necessarily bad. There is.
Don't make it sound bad. It's a good thing. Like it's you being connected to the collective of things that you can be patriotic about thousands of things. Doesn't have to be about your country, but that's I guess that's an ideology, right? You could be ideological about the church you go to, or the people that you hang around with, or the causes that you believe in. They're all ideologies. Patriotism is just another form of it. Yeah,
but I don't believe in moral equivalency. I do think that some forms of patriotism are better than others. My form of patriotism is better than the Taliban's patriotism.
Well, that's right. Patriotism's based on Sharia law, man. Girls can't go to school. Women can't do anything. Like, fuck, what the fuck? All right, I want to shift gears towards the end here, and I want to close out the Memorial Day weekend thing that we're talking about, and reminding everybody that there is no winning or losing. Yeah, there's only winning or dying. And that is the reality of war. That's people that are on a school campus shouting free, free Palestine from the river to the sea don't understand that there is no moral equivalence. There is no winning. There is no middle ground where, stop there, that's enough, we're not going into Rafah. They get into Rafah and find that there's like kilometers and kilometers of tunnels that go under to Egypt big enough to drive a fucking car through, and Egypt are complicit in supplying the Palestinians with fucking everything they need, including the weapons, the rockets, the explosives, and all the stuff that they need to create chaos. Where's the moral equivalence there? Where's the moral equivalence with UNRWA and the hostages in underneath the hospital there? They knew exactly what was going on. There's no winning or losing. There's only winning or dying in war. Your government wants you to die. They want you to die. Your government hates you. Your government injected you and sterilized you and caused all sorts of health problems to literally millions of people globally after they deliberately funded gain-of-function research, which was outlawed. They did everything. 100% of what happened was deliberate, and they did it to kill you. They're trying to kill you. Your government's trying to kill you. Stop listening to your government. Don't do anything that they say. Don't do anything. Nothing. I recommend that you just turn the TV off. I recommend that you don't listen to any politician ever again. None of them. Not Donald Trump, not fucking Joe Biden, not any of them. They all want it. Donald Trump's responsible for Operation Warp Speed. What? I thought he was a good guy. Actually, no. He was captured by the people that were driving it all. And he just did what he was recommended to do there without actually giving people a free choice. Yeah, you can, you can't. Do whatever you want. It's up to you. It's your own personal autonomy. No, there was none of that. We're going to do it. We're going to get everyone sorted. That's Scott Morrison. Same thing. We're going to do it. We're going to get everyone sorted. Yeah. Benjamin Netanyahu went to Albert Bourla. If you read Bibi's book, he talks about what he did with Albert Bourla of Pfizer. And he says that you should give all of that stuff to us here in Israel, because we have this really sophisticated electronic medical system where we know the medical records of every single citizen that we have. And it's a great system for a variety of different reasons. We have a good system here in Australia too, but he used it to allow Pfizer to experiment on all of these people to capture all of the results that would go on. And there's American politicians in the last week come out and say, well, we didn't know what was going to happen. We just had to put it out there and see what happened. They experimented on you and they tried to kill you. And they're still trying to kill you. Here in Australia, they're still promoting it, still trying to kill you. Don't listen to them. Don't go chanting at a university, free Palestine. Don't go chanting supporting Israel, supporting Russia or Ukraine. They can all fuck off. A lot of them. Everyone. All of them. Stick to your family. Stick to your life, to the things that matter to you. That's what matters. There's no winning or losing. There's only winning or dying, and they want you to die. So you've got a choice to make. Do you want to die? No. Well, are you going to go and fight for NATO, for Jens Stoltenberg, on the border of Kharkiv and Russia? When there's a nuclear, are you going to go there? Are you really seriously going to go and pull on a pair of cams and boots and do that? Fuck no. Whatever you do. You call him now, man, will you? Who's on the phone?
Yeah, I got the director of the CIA on the phone for you, Rob.
Imagine doing what Jake Sullivan told you to do. Oh my God, that guy looks like fucking Satan himself. Imagine imagine following the orders of, imagine being in the CIA going, fuck, Jake Sullivan's the boss, can you believe it? That guy, man, he's the most fucking evil, wicked dude of all of them. He's the one responsible for all of this shit. He's the one that's in charge of all of it. It's hard to believe, man, that people are so captured by it. And, you know, we are supporting the most illegitimate leader in all of Europe, who's now actually technically a dictator because he cancelled elections and maintained power. We continue to support war crimes on a daily basis. Oh my God, do you want me to pull out some more? I've got fucking dozens more this week from what's going on. There's war crimes everywhere happening in Ukraine, and on our side, we're funding them. They're committing war crimes. What? How does this keep happening? How does Boris Johnson bring the Azov battalion commander, whose known association to Nazi ideology, to happen like that? It is just fucking gobsmacking, and just, it's, I can't, here it is, if you haven't seen it. There it is there. Disgusting scenes as the British Parliament has failed. Serial liar and war peddler Boris Johnson platforms the Nazi-adoring Azov battalion. A grave insult to the tens of thousands of British men that have died fighting the Nazis. It's just shameful. So on the left, emblem of the neo-Nazi military unit, the Azov battalion. Emblem in the middle of the Nazi SS one, and Nazi Black Sea Sun symbol. Look at it. They've got the Nazi SS and the Black Sea Sun on their patches that they wear on their uniforms, man.
He's making Putin's point.
He is. Why are we supporting that? If you're watching on X, thank you for following along. Don't forget to come on over to the Unspoken Truth Telegram channel. All of the links in the description below.